Hello, welcome back. Thank you, as always, for joining me. We're going to have a conversation today about the idea, this notion that pops up in our experience all the time about all or nothing. Yeah, that's the idea today. And we're going through the text of A Course in Miracles. And if you're new or newer to this course, and especially if you've not had any experience with this at all, which is perfectly fine. By the way, these videos are for everyone, experienced students and those who have just heard about this for the first time because YouTube's algorithm recommended it or something like that. Welcome wherever you are on what we call your spiritual journey. You're meant to be here, and I appreciate that. So thank you for tuning in. You might wonder what this idea of all or nothing has to do with spirituality at all. And it's a really, really good question because we hear this phrase bandied about in the world in lots of different contexts, and frequently it's in our business and economic relationships, in our careers, in our jobs, and well, sometimes in our personal relationships as well. People say it's all or nothing, and well, derivatives of that such as either you're for me or you're against me, you love me or you hate me. That's quite common, isn't it? And we encounter these ideas and forms of the idea that it's one or the other, it's all or nothing. And we encounter this all the time, and our minds rebel. We take a look at this idea, and when someone says, yeah, it's all or nothing, like pixelated image on your screen is saying it's all or nothing, which of course we're going to talk about in the context of spirituality and specifically chapter 22, section 2, paragraph 4 of A Course in Miracles, if you're following along. Yes, we're going to talk about that. But it's a good question to wonder, what does this have to do with my spiritual path? At all. People say it's all or nothing all the time, but well, our minds go to town against that. We think, no, it's not. Life is more multi-layered than that. And it certainly appears that way, doesn't it? It appears to be more multifaceted, more complex. That's the word. Complex, complicated, elaborate, confusing, up, down, high, low, feeling great, feeling terrible. One moment to the next in a rapid roller coaster, like a yo-yo, up, down, to the point where we find ourselves brutalized and exhausted by our own addition and layering of complications onto the very simplicity of truth itself. We add all of these complications. All or nothing is a phrase that applies here to our spiritual path. And we rebel. We revolt against it, thinking, no, it has got to be more complicated than just this. God is, period. What are you talking about? You are not a body. What do you mean? There is no world? Truth is true? Too obvious, right? It can't possibly be, we tell ourselves, and we run off and we do life, adding all of the complications that we experience ourselves. All of them. Every single last one. So we find here in chapter 22, section 2, paragraph 4, which is incidentally is the only paragraph we're talking about today. Kind of an aside, but a really important point. Every single paragraph of the course is packed with meaning. Every single sentence of the course is packed with meaning and contains the entirety of the thought system. Therefore, we could spend a lot of time on every single paragraph. There's enough here to contemplate and to put into practice for a long time, as long as is necessary, of course. We find here that this roller coaster ride that we appear to be on makes us miserable. It stresses us out. And we can tell ourselves, well, who doesn't have stress these days? With things going the way they are, who isn't stressed out, worried, freaked out, and afraid? It's normal, right? Normal to be completely fearful and stuff. No, it's not. How is that normal? How is that okay? How is that worthy of the Son of God? Though we all experience it. There's no need to normalize these complications because there is another way of looking at things which you do know or you would not be here. So we're invited to look. That's what we're invited to do. When we're miserable, it makes perfect sense. It sounds like pure simplicity to say, okay, recognize misery over here and go the other way. Something's making you miserable, go the other way. And what Jesus is referring to here is in our mind. Yet this may, in fact, involve a physical moving away from a relationship, maybe, from a job situation, from some form of attachment to a thing that you do and don't want to part with. For example, you know, yeah, recognize it and go the other way. Misery and joy are completely opposite. There are many ways of characterizing this in words. Let's go through some of the more prominent ways that people can see this because it's important. So, misery and joy are complete opposites. They don't communicate with each other. They don't go play golf. They don't join each other for a beer after a day of pitched battle in the office or the courtroom or the legislative chamber or online or something like that. They don't speak to one another nor communicate with each other in any way. Other ways of characterizing this: love and fear are complete opposites. God and the ego, the Holy Spirit and the ego, truth and illusion, light and dark, life and death, self with a capital S, little ego self with a lowercase s, individual self-sustaining survival unitism, and all of the labels that we heap upon ourselves here on this wobbling, spinning ball of rock, that kind of stuff. Yeah, truth and illusion, complete opposites. You can't have both. Now, here, when we rebel against that very statement and think that we can have a multifaceted life layered with complications that stress us out and render us unable to function from time to time because we're so chaotic, we can all relate to this. Whether this is something that you're experiencing right now or not, we can all relate to this. We can't have both love and fear, truth or illusion. We can't have them both. We can't have both of them at the same time. You cannot. It's not possible. They're mutually exclusive in every way. We do have the power of choice, of decision, right now in the present moment to choose one or the other. And naturally, and you may be experiencing this right now because we can all relate to it, this sense of rebellion of this image is wrong, this course is wrong. Well, you can say that all you want. This is a pixelated image on your screen that's not going to stop you from thinking whatever you're thinking right now. We have all taken a look at these ideas and thought, that can't possibly be. Uh-uh. No, I'm going to go off to my corner and pout and stress myself out and suffer some more because I'm used to it. I don't know. I mean, we can relate to that attitude because this conversation appears to be happening because we all go there. Too much, too often, for sure. We don't have to. We don't have to. You have the power of choice right now to choose the Holy Spirit instead of the ego, truth instead of illusion. And our choice is total. Such is the power of belief of our mind that our choice is total. We cannot have little shreds of guilt and fear and hatred and forgive 99.9% of every living thing. And you know that's true. Yet we all play this little game with ourselves where we want to reserve some judgment for some people because we call them bad, or we disagree with their viewpoint, or they may have done something really wrong and harmful to us. What we all must realize is no matter what your situation is or has been, forgiveness is total or it is not at all. You cannot, not a single one of us can forgive 99.999% of every living thing and exclude even one person, even one idea from that. Doesn't mean you have to agree with people. We're talking about forgiveness here. We're talking about wholeness and totality because truth is whole. It's indivisible. It's limitless. It's not parsed out into multiple separate component parts like our experiences here in the world, where we've got our time schedule, and when we go to work, and then we go to sleep, and this is where we're going to make dinner, and we're going to pay a couple of bills here because that one's past due. Oh man, how are we going to make this one? Oh, this one. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, next email. Check. Clean the house. Check. Scroll my social media feed and try to recognize when I'm judging someone's what we call stupidity. Check. Everything that we do. There is a different way of seeing our experience. And it's very important for us to realize that our mind is so powerful that what we believe in, we 100% experience. Our power of belief is so strong, it cannot compromise. It is incapable of compromise. So, begs the question. Let's ask ourselves the question, what happens when you want the peace of God and nothing else? What happens when you believe that you and your brother are one with each other, with God? Ideas leave not their source. What happens when you have that undivided belief? Because our belief is so strong, so powerful that it cannot compromise. So, this does mean in our daily lives, we're grossly undervaluing and underestimating ourselves, worth taking a look at. And when you are called to stop doing that and to wholly 100% follow the guidance of our inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, call it what you will. Yeah, yes, because you are more powerful than you can possibly imagine. And it has nothing to do with power over anyone or anything or an organization. If you're in charge of people at work, that's not what we're talking about at all. Those are all separation ideas. There is no separation of any kind. We've made up all of the hierarchical structures that appear to exist on spinning ball of rock, from political structures to our structures of government to who has this wild, weird idea called authority that's nothing but an idea, completely insubstantial and invented, made up. It is. That's just one example. We don't have to continue to go there in our mind. We can choose to let the Holy Spirit guide us. We can choose love instead of fear. We can choose forgiveness instead of condemnation, hatred, judgment, and blame, rather than pick up your phone, scroll social media, and hate on someone for their posting of their views with which you don't agree. For example, rather than say that person is, add the language yourself, forgive. Doesn't mean you have to agree with their point of view. If you don't, you don't. So what? Doesn't matter. Your brother is still you. Not like you, not similar to you, not your distant cousin twice removed. You. There is only perfect oneness, and there is no separation of any kind. So when we say you're more powerful than you can imagine, it's not power over, it's not temporal power. It's not economic power, though you may or may not have that. It's not political power. It's recognizing who, what, and where we are. All of us, one. That's power. And our mind is more powerful than we give it credit for. So, to the extent that the past few minutes have helped you, that's excellent. That's the purpose of these videos, by the way, is to share the Holy Spirit with you. Now, you may be called to do this in a very, very different way, which is an important point. Because we all indulge in the fiction of comparative reality in the world, and we all do it. We're set up to do it by our social systems and the media and all that stuff. We look at people doing things that are cool that we're not doing, and we compare ourselves to them, which of course hurts us. It's a separation idea. We wish we were somewhere else. Yeah. We wish we were doing something else. Sure. Yeah. Your own directive from our inner teacher could look very different than this. This is my own personal directive to turn on the camera and microphone and share the Holy Spirit with you. Your sharing of the Holy Spirit with people can look very differently because we all appear to have different outward forms. Case in point, we all appear to have different lives, we have different careers, we have different, what we call here in the world, circles of friends, yeah, spheres of influence, people that we can share the Holy Spirit with. There are people out there that you will reach better. Not only can you, but you also will reach better than I can reach. I mean, you're watching this video because, well, the two of us are meant to connect in this way. But there are people out there that will be able to hear the message of the Holy Spirit best through you. So your own directive could look very differently. This is all just a difference of outward form. What matters is the content, a lesson that the Course drives home, should we choose to listen to it, over and over and over again. This is about content, meaning, the essence, the heart of the matter, not the differences in outward form. This looks like a different outward form than the one that you appear to be inhabiting, and we're never really in it anyway, at all. There are plenty of differences in outward form. What matters is the content, the heart of the matter, the meaning. True forgiveness, extending love to the Son of God, that is what matters, not the manner in which you do it, as long as you're doing it. So I thank you for tuning in and for joining me today. It really means a great deal to me and, well, to every living thing that you're taking the time out of your busy life to listen to the message of the Holy Spirit. So for that, I thank you. Questions are more than welcome here, by the way, in this comment thread in YouTube. You're welcome to leave a question or a comment. And even if you simply want to pop in and say hello, I would love to hear from you. So please go ahead and do that. Yeah, it's an international community. People are here from all over, which is very cool. It's very cool. What's going on is this amazing modern technology that we made up called the internet is being used to share the message of the Holy Spirit, which it can be, just as well as it can be used to spread disinformation, hatred, rage, blame, and fear. It can share love too. So I thank you very much for tuning in. If you have not yet subscribed, I would love to have you join us. Please go ahead and do that. This is the prompt over here in the corner of your screen. Just click that icon and join us. We'd love to have you. And I thank you for tuning in today.